Okay, I hope everybody's having an awesome weekend. This is 50 Pips, 8th of September, 2013. Not making any trade calls or recommendations. Everybody is responsible for their own trades, and the fact that you're listening to this means you've read, you understand, you accept all the disclaimers here on the website and everywhere else. So, how's everybody doing? So, let's do a bit of a I thought we would look at things a bit differently today, just for the outlook. Since last week we did that whole 1 hour session where we looked at pretty much every pair in detail. So I think the broader outlook is still hasn't changed on Euro cable, ES, etc. I think if you look back on that, you should have a fairly clear picture of what's going on. So I'm just going to go through some charts where I got a lot of questions on the blog or by email this week. So I just thought we'd go run through those. So CAD JPY. Basically, and we've been talking about this chart on the just ignore the markings, but basically we've been talking about this chart for quite some time. And the only thing I said, and I've been talking about it on the blog a lot, I was talking about this 200-day moving average, and then I was talking about the 94.50s being pivotal, okay? So even though, as far as we're concerned, we're in an upward rotation for a move back into the 97.60s, I just wanted to highlight that I'm still looking at this as a big chop range, 97.60s, 91.70s. Okay, so clearly here we had very interesting buying opportunities at range low, and there were selling opportunities at range high. Okay, everybody's more than free to play those whatever way they want, but just keep in mind as we're continuing this rotation higher, the next big pivotal level, which is going to be a very interesting level to watch if we get there, is how we behave on this move right back into this 97.60s, right? It's not a done deal. It doesn't mean we're necessarily going higher. We need to break through that level and watch for action on a daily close. But at the moment, the chart is looking constructive for a move back to high range, and as long as we hold above this 94.50s from a daily close, I'd be looking for us to come back into these highs. Okay, so another chart be getting a lot of questions on, because I've been talking about this on Twitter, is CAD. This basically we talked about it in the last in the weekly outlook too, so that should be fairly clear. And basically we've been talking about the fact that it was looking like it was coming up here and it was topping here. There was a very nice reversal candle at highs here, and we never managed to move back and take out these highs. Okay, there were a lot of different ways to try and short this, failures here, a lot of 4-hour closes, negative closes here, but basically these highs never got challenged. So now on the way back down, we said there were a couple levels to keep an eye out for. The first one was the 050 level, so the 105 level. Once we closed above that, we expected to get a test of these lows and price moving very aggressively. And the next level we said to watch out for was basically this 0420, which was in line with these highs that kept on getting sold here. So now that we're through here, we're back on this 200. This is a 4-hour chart. Keep an eye on how we close here on a daily, on a 4-hour level. But if we start to get 4-hour closes below this 200, then I'd expect us to come right back down into these 0340s. In terms of the bigger picture, if you look at the daily, now what's interesting here, and basically we highlighted this level 10120s, basically the big swing move, that level is very interesting for us. So keep in mind that in any case, whether we get a retracement to the 50 back of this bigger move from lows to highs, which is right at that 0120s we highlighted, whether we get a retracement back down to that 200 moving average on the daily, whether we get a healthy correction right back down into the bottom of the channel, clearly pressure is on here. So the shorts have, are holding the game pretty much in control at the moment. So it's really up to the bulls to come in. So again, watch this next shaded area to the downside. What I would be looking at early in the week, if we get a bit of a rally, watch what happens if we approach back up in these lows that broke. If you see sellers coming in here, of course, if it's below the 042, but if we can't break back above this, most likely market will be looking to sell any moves into here for a move back down. Not that we're into predicting the future, but, something like that unless it solves off from here, okay? But that could definitely be something that will play out. The market, expect to see the market be in sell rallies mode. Another chart which we talked about, and it was interesting because I got a lot of people commenting while we were doing the live webinar, and I tried to explain the best we can, right? And with all these moves, these arrows, I kept the chart as is on Kiwi, on the fact that as we were trading lower, we said, gun to my head, I'm definitely not looking to get short into this massive support that keeps on getting bought. And we said, something like the risk of the velocity is to the upside, not to the downside. So we got a very nice bounce right back through. We're looking for a move into 79.30s. We actually got higher. So now what you want to look at going into the week, look at all these support zones that not only the pivotal level, but all these supports that we put in on the week. If we cannot break back below, expect this to continue to grind higher. And where? Well, we'd expect it to try and take a stab and continue to rotate back up into the 8160s. I mean, globally speaking, you can see that even if we make this smaller, this is a huge chop range, sideways range. But the way we're trading here, clearly the risk is for a move right back up into those highs and into those 8160s, okay? The other thing on Aussie here, we were discussing again, I said, if anything, we're looking to get long, not to get short. Basically, this is something we were tweeting out, but basically the way we were looking at this was basically, and we started talking about this since memory serves, since these 91s, once we broke above these 91s. And what we kept on saying in these updates is we said, watch out, because there could be, we're not huge head and shoulder fans, but there could be some kind of an inverse head and shoulder forming here. But in any case, it looks like unless we take out this bottom, clearly there's a chance to try and get long, especially after everybody, all the longs were turning short, because this was simply getting no traction to the upside. And what we said is keep an eye on what happened at the 90, the 91. This was the chop range. So once we start to get a move back above here, it started to get constructive to the upside. Once we start to get a close above the 91s, then it was looking very constructive to the upside. And what we said in one of the sessions was, expect any move back down to get bought for a move right back up. So at the moment here, I think the quick part of the move to the upside is done here pretty much. Now the remaining part would be, if you look at it compared to the Kiwi, basically this, remember we talked about that chop range on the Kiwi, and it's exactly the same thing here on Aussie. So the upside of that range would pretty much into the 93.20s. So unless we really get a daily close above the 93.20s, it's still in a chop, but clearly right now the bulls are in control, and it looks like they're going to try and take a stab to the upside there. And then the last chart I'll be getting a lot of questions on also is Euro GPB, right? And the big question is here, Euro GPB is in very, very strong support. The big question is here, is it, as long as it holds below this 200 on the weekly, this is a weekly chart, we'd expect it to be in sell rallies mode. So the big question is the market just going to break down directly from here, or are we going to get a bit of pop and see if the market gets a chance to sell into this 200 basically? And if you want, this is going to be pretty much the bull bear line for the week. Keep an eye. As long as the weekly closes below this 200 week, this is continued to trade heavy most likely. If the week closes back above there, then we could get a bit of a retracement. But clearly, this is looking bearish, right? If you look at it, basically the initial sell-off we have here, this is the 50 back of this big move from lows to highs. We got the 50 back long got triggered, and then once it moved right back up here, so up here, comes all the way back down in the channel, triggers the 50 back on a weekly, a big 50 back, it moves back up and it sells at the 50 back short. So right now, these are the two fighting zones really. The longs trying, oops, not what I wanted to do. The longs trying to hold these lows, and the shorts trying to hold these highs. And at the moment, the longs clearly had a chance to use this base to take a stab at those highs again, but they got sold again, lower highs. So right now, especially if we can break below this support zone, so I just wanted to, there's clearly a chance that we try and move back into that mid-channel, 81s, 70s, and possibly all the way back down into the 77s. So clearly, going into the week, this is a massive level. So again, if you're looking to get long, clearly there is an opportunity, even though I'm not a big fan here, as long as this support holds. But if we start to break and get traction below the support, you don't want to be stubbornly I wouldn't want to be stubbornly long, because here it's still pressure off. So keep an eye on the base here and the 200 on the weekly. Inside here, we could see a bit of choppiness, but to see a bit more follow through and momentum, I'd need to see a daily close below these lows, or a daily close starting to move towards a weekly close above the 200 on the weekly. Okay. So I hope those were useful for you. If you like the content, don't be shy about sharing it. Thanks a lot for listening. I'm going to post this. Will take a while to upload. But again, see you guys tomorrow for London. Have a great one. Enjoy the rest of your weekends. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye, guys.